at Westside Decorating Center. Well, good morning to you on this Tuesday. I almost said Monday because it felt like it because we had a long weekend with Labor Day, but it is a Tuesday morning, already the second day of December. Hope you had a good Labor Day weekend. Lots going on today. Later on after the 10 o'clock news, State Rep Amos O'Neill will come a-calling and chat with us about things in the state. At 11 o'clock, we'll learn about the practice of Dr. Hersham Gayar. But for this hour, a prodigal son returns home, ladies and gentlemen. He is the executive director of the Temple Arts Organization. And when I say return home, because many years ago he worked at the Temple Theater. And he is Tony Serra. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Good
Pleasure
to see you.
Thank you so much for this.
All right. So I have to ask it this way. I don't know how else to ask this. What takes a boy working for the Ilitch family in Detroit, running the Fox Theater and then moving over to their main corporate offices? What tears him away from that to bring him home?
Saginaw, the Great Lakes Bay region, the people within it, and two outstanding arts organizations that we have in this area that, when given the opportunity to lead and take it into its next chapter, we've got the Temple Theater that's about to be 100 years old in 2027.
Scary.
For me to be given that opportunity to guide it into its next century is something that is not lost on me at all. And for me to bring my experiences working at the Fox Theater, which I consider to be the sort of highest level of theater operations, to bring that experience back here to my hometown, and candidly to be able to raise my family in the town that I was raised in is not too shabby either.
I was waiting for that because most people would think, oh, well, let's go to Detroit. Bigger money, bigger opportunity, bigger. Bigger's not always better.
Not always. Not at all.
That's why I'm here, and that's why you're here.
100%. 100%.
Because we found a home. I mean, that basically, and you're right, it's about the people, first and foremost.
And this particular region, in Metro Detroit, you've got all these different pockets and these different neighborhoods and towns. They tend to find ways to not work together. But here in the Great Lakes Bay region,
they've done just the opposite.
It is an amazing synergy that we have here, and the momentum is something that I'm just excited to be able to be part of.
And we should point out there was a time when it was just like
Detroit, of course.
Saginaw Bay, Midland didn't get along. They didn't talk to each other. They didn't do anything. Everything was separate.
It is an active pursuit to work together.
Regionalization.
Yes.
Paid off. So let's go back, because you were at the Temple when?
Well, I started there in 2012, and that really was one of the first full-time arts administration jobs that I was able to attain after a couple of summers working summer stock, and then prior to that being in New York City. I went to Western Michigan University and studied music theater performance. I was going to be a Broadway performer, but when I got out to New York and I had, folks that were interested in working with me out there.
So you tried it?
I did try it, for sure. But it was 08, 09, and the market had crashed out. Things from a production standpoint were very, very minimal, and it was difficult to get a role in that way.
Unless you were Brian Darcy James.
Who I know and love with a deep passion.
Yeah,
but you're correct, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting story. So you were at the Temple how long?
I spent 2 years at the Temple Theater, and I immersed myself in everything that I could inside of that building, from the history of the building and just understanding how it became what it is, to learning about the restoration by the Shaheen family and the wonderful gift that they provided to the community. And then getting to actual work. I was in there working the box office. I was running the events, working with the volunteer ushers, and maintaining all of the different assets and facets of the building. We started a comedy club in there. Many, many weddings and families were created during that time. And
if I can find it,
sure,
I have something I have to play for you.
Oh boy! Oh no, you didn't find an ad that I did you?
No, I did not find an ad that you did.
This is the last time I was
find something better.
It was the last time I was in this building. I cut an ad for the Temple Theater.
Oh, did you really?
Believe it or not.
Wow. Now I know where it is. Let me see here. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll take a break here in a couple of minutes. I'll find it.
Sure.
But it's something you have to hear.
Okay, fair enough.
So what do you know about art museums?
Well, shortly after leaving the Temple Theater the first time around, I went off to expand my career because I was really in love with this idea of being in the arts as an administrator, because I was a performer before, and being on the other side of the curtain, a little bit more stability, etc. So I developed my career by moving to Midland Center for the Arts and became their donor relations manager.
Well, you did go over to Midland for a while.
I did,
Oh.
right. So with that, I became immersed with the Alton B. Dow Museum of Science and Art, and the Midland Historical Society, and within that, of course, you get immersed in the art world, exhibitry, and
Yeah, all that good stuff.
absolutely, which I had never been exposed to it in a professional sense up until that point, and once I was like taking fish and putting them in water. It was unbelievable. Really enjoyed it.
And you spent how long there?
I spent 5 years at Midland Center for the Arts before the opportunity at the Fox Theater showed up, and I was able to snag that.
So what was it like at the Fox and working for the Illiches?
Well, the Illich family is a world-class family. They've transformed Detroit from the beginning with their restoration and saving of the Fox Theater back in 1987, 1988. To work at the Fox Theater was obviously a life-changing experience. It was monumental in all the ways that you can imagine. If you've been to the Fox Theater, you know that it is a magical space. And it has a lot of the same history that our temple here in Saginaw has.
We had our tour business from 94 to 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Probably did dozen trips to the Fox.
Sure.
I think we saw Riverdance 5 times.
I believe
Something
it.
like that.
And they still show up every year.
They still show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it, other than the stature of the artists coming in to some degree, is it much different running a theater the size of the Fox versus the Temple?
Not at all. Not at all. It's pretty much the same when it doesn't matter what's on stage, right? When you open the doors, the marquee lights turn on, and those guests start to file in. The ushers have to say the same things. Ticket, please, right? And whether it's the Temple Theater and its beautiful, lobby, or the Fox Theater and its beautiful lobby, the same exact experience happens for those audience members.
For the audience members, yes.
Yes.
For behind the scenes, though, I have to believe, in the case of the Fox Theater, it sells itself to the management of the artists.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of the Temple Theater, you have to sell it to the management of the artists to some degree.
To some degree, yes, but I would say that the Temple Theater has done a great job recently of making waves in that sort of arena. It's being recognized.
Well, I remember talking to Larry Preston about it and Mike Colithan. This was at a time when all of a sudden they started spending big money to bring in acts.
Indeed.
But what they were doing was they were spending big money, and that's how they were making money, because they'd fill it up.
That's correct. You have to spend it to make it. There's no question about that in this business. And good entertainment knows its worth, right? So it's not cheap. So, for example, recently we brought in Tim Allen, Steve Martin, Martin Short, Yo-Yo Ma. Those are not cheap acts by any means.
Right.
But to your point, they fill those seats. And when you have a full audience,
You make money.
you're making money, and you're making money in the future, because you're going to get that repeat sort of cultivation of an audience, right? We're building a community.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, and I got a little bit of audio to play for Tony. I think you'll get a kick out of it, and we'll be back.
Lions fans.
All right, in studio with me is Tony Serra. He's the new executive director of the Temple Arts Association, and he just raised his fist when we did that promo on the Lions.
Absolutely. Love our Lions.
All right, you're not alone. I mentioned I had something I wanted you to hear. Part of Tony's responsibilities now is, of course, the Temple Theater. And many years ago, in the early 80s, I went down to the theater to do a kind of a remote thing in the morning. And Temple Theater is well known for its Barton organ.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's way too long, but I'll just give you a little piece of history. And this was what we were doing back in 1982. Maybe I'll give you a little piece of history. Okay, history, where are you? That's interesting because it's not doing its thing.
If it was, we'd be hearing.
Yeah, we'd be hearing the Barton organ.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I wonder
yes,
why it's
Butterfield
not
special.
Not doing its thing here.
You know, we're very proud of that organ. It's nearly 100 years old, and it's one of the only Barton organs still in its original installation, in its original.
Is that right? Yeah.
Condition. Yes. The American Theater Organ Society, who I'm very close with the treasurer of, they just offered us a grant to help preserve the organ, and have mentioned that they plan to feature the organ in the 100th year on their magazine. Oh, I hear it.
Well, you did hear it.
Well, I did.
So did I. Well, it was there. All right, come on now, guys.
The other thing I love about that organ is that it tends to have the capacity to act like a time machine for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, it definitely makes it sound that way.
Yes.
We're going to have to work on this because I had
Fair
it.
enough.
It was working. We heard it, so we know it's there. But it's not doing its thing. I love technology.
It's fun. You know, that's what I love about an organ is that there's nothing digital about it, right?
Well, that's true.
It's all
you know.
organic.
That's true, and it's
Yeah.
got over 1,000 keys, 1,000 pipes.
Oh, yeah.
It's got drums, traps they call them,
Yeah. You got it.
sound effects.
I'm impressed.
It's got stuff. Well, it was all on this piece we did.
Sure.
So let's talk. We'll go back to the theater, but let's talk about the Art Museum, because the Art Museum, well documented over the years, has had its struggles until finally some very generous benefactors came along and literally saved it.
Yes.
Some of the biggest names in the community. And in just truth be known, I was on that board back at the time when we were going through a lot of those difficulties.
Sure.
And it was a difficult time. Now the Art Museum survives quite nicely. It's stable, isn't it?
It's very much stable, and I think it's even growing. We've done some amazing things in the arts, or rather the education outreach side of the Art Museum. We've got this phenomenal program called Arts for All, and today, you know, we've got so many students going back to school. And the Arts for All program has partnered with the schools, the Saginaw schools and Midland schools, and looking to partner with more to provide free memberships for students to bring their families to the Saginaw Art Museum to expose them to the arts and culture that we have inside of that beautiful, historic Ring Mansion right there on Michigan Avenue in Saginaw. So not only is it stable, but we're bringing in young, new audiences to experience this place, and that's cultivating quite a bit of energy. We're seeing on Saturdays our open studio where youngsters can come down and create a piece for themselves to take home. We're seeing the open studio fill up, and our parking lot is full on the weekends. So it's really been very exciting to be entering the organization.
You know, I've told people, I don't know how you feel about this. I mean, you just came out of Detroit.
Sure.
But I told people, if you look at Saginaw Bay, Midland counties, let us assume 400,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you find a city of 400,000 that has 2 symphony orchestras, multiple art museums, multiple theater companies, multiple in arts?
Right.
This region is hot for it.
Oh, there's no questions asked. It's part of the draw for me to have returned, is that we have an appetite for arts and culture in the Great Lakes Bay region, no questions asked. We have an embarrassment of riches, right? We are so lucky. And within a 20-minute drive of wherever you live in this region, you have the ability to see phenomenal art, to hear phenomenal music, to hear a world-class comedian, you name it. Our audiences are, candidly, a little spoiled. Oh, there's the organ back. There we go. West Side Story.
The movie was playing that night.
Oh, I love that. It's so warm. It's just second to none. Not to speak poorly of any of our other cinemas in town, but can you get that experience at the local cinema? No, you can't. And that's what I'm so proud of.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yes.
Totally unique. But I'm glad I was able to get that piece on.
Yes.
But we were down there for about, I don't know, we did 12 minutes on the air with it, but it was the night they were going to play West Side Story, so she played it on the Barton,
Love it.
So then the Barton's in good shape, isn't it?
Oh, it's in phenomenal shape.
It was redone not too long ago.
It's always consistently being
Well,
maintained, and yes, of course. But the console is in phenomenal shape. Like I said, I've had the treasurer of the American Theater Organ Society, which is a national group. They oversee all of the theaters that have organs in them, and we got top marks. I'll say that, top marks.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Can you still find players?
Yes, in fact, believe it or not, I've got a meeting with the Temple Theater Organ Club tomorrow, and our three rotating organists. So we've got, actually, believe it or not, we have more organists at the Temple Theater in Saginaw than the Fox Theater has in Detroit. Believe it or not, yes.
Whose organ's better?
Whose organ is better? That's very arguable because they're apples to oranges. The Mighty Wurlitzer at the Fox Theater is 7 chambers, 3,000 pipes.
It's bigger.
It's an outstanding. It's the second largest Wurlitzer in the world, and it is the largest theater organ in the country. So
okay. So that's in a different class.
It is indeed. I would often say during a tour, it's not a theater. It's an organ with a theater wrapped around it. Truly. Yeah.
Literally, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do they still use it the way we do here?
Not as often nowadays with the current programming happening at the Fox. It doesn't make sense in some cases to be playing the organ prior to certain concerts, whereas at the Temple Theater, we're looking for opportunities to use our organ and make sure that experience.
That's all part of the experience at the Temple. I mean, you get there half hour early because you knew you were going to get a concert.
Right. That's exactly correct, and that's part of the plan for the future. Maintain it.
More ahead with Tony Serra, Temple Arts Organization, and he is the new executive director. We'll talk more about what's ahead when we return.
Lehman's Green Apple Barn is pass it on.
Today could be the day. Pass it on.
Today could be the day. Pass it on.
Did you hear? Today could be the day for a Michigan Lottery Daily 4 bonus draw. For a limited time this month, any Daily 4 drawing could be a bonus draw.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. Tony Serra in studio with me. He is the executive director of the Temple Arts Organization, talking about the Saginaw Art Museum and the Temple Theater. So let's talk about what's coming up at the Temple. What do you got lined up for us?
We've got some very exciting programs. If you like comedy, this month on the 19th, Saturday Night Live's Leslie Jones is going to be here for an exciting evening. We've got a really phenomenal sort of country bluegrass group called Blackberry Smoke coming later this fall. Yeah. For the kids, we've got Gabby's Dollhouse coming later this fall as well. For the holidays, we've got, of course, our classic Nutcracker. And then,
Eddie Band.
Well, of course, the Saginaw Eddie Band, the concert band, of course. One of the programs that I'm most excited about is not this year. It is actually going to be next March. But we are bringing in one of the world's most preeminent violinists, a gentleman named Joshua Bell. And this individual is the Yo-Yo Ma of the violin, if you will, the next generation's Itzhak Perlman. And I would encourage everyone to look
also
into.
has been here.
Oh, indeed. Yes, of course. He's graced our stage. So it's what we're trying to do is bring the most prestigious artists in the world to the stages here in Saginaw and the Great Lakes Bay region. And we're doing that with Joshua Bell in March next year.
It's interesting, without getting into dollars and things like that.
Sure.
For many years, the Temple Theater ran with what I'd call B acts and C acts, not the A acts. When they started spending money on the A acts, they started making money. Wasn't that interesting?
There's a very well-known arts administrator who ran the Kennedy Center and the Royal Ballet and the Kansas City Ballet. His name is Michael Kaiser, and he's written a number of books. One of them is a book called The Art of the Turnaround, and it is, I would say, one of the greatest textbooks for an arts administrator in terms of how to make an arts organization really chug along. And one of his mantras is, great art well marketed. And that is indeed exactly what you have to do. You have to bring in great art, and then you have to make sure that the people know about it. So thank you for the opportunity for us to be able to share our message outbound.
No, it's a pleasure. I mean, that's let's face it, the Art Museum and the Temple Theater are a couple of gems in this area that make quality of life better for everybody.
Oh, you say that again. Absolutely.
The Temple Theater and the Art Museum make quality of life better for everybody.
Thank you, Art.
And they always have. I mean, that's it's you measure the livability of a community by its people,
indeed,
by its offerings,
indeed,
its education, all of that stuff. And I think we're on a little gold mine here, because I really think the Great Lakes Bay region could lead this state in not only economic development and employment, but arts.
Mm-hmm.
You got Corning with $1.5 billion investment looking for 1,500 people.
Right.
Hemlock Semiconductors looking for a couple hundred more. SK Siltron.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, this is a growth area right now.
There's no questions asked. And we're even more grateful for those organizations that you just mentioned being supporters of Temple Arts. They see the value that the Temple Arts, the Temple Theater, Saginaw Art Museum and Gardens are bringing to the community. And from a recruitment and retention standpoint for our corporate partners and corporate entities here in the region, we bring that value. And to your point, it really does build a community.
I know you worked with the Midland Center for the Arts for a while, but
sure.
Do you communicate with the director of MCFTA and the Dow to avoid conflicts and see what's happening in the world?
That's the most important thing. Absolutely. In fact, I've got lunch scheduled in just a week or so here with Matt Travis, the president and CEO of Midland Center for the Arts, who I worked with when I was there at the center a few years back.
That was before he was president.
Correct. Yes, indeed. He was in charge of choirs at the time. And he's a phenomenal leader, an amazing artist in and of itself, and proud to be able to collaborate with him. And then also Kevin over at the Dow Event Center. I haven't yet met Kevin, but he is on my list of folks that I have to sit down with, because being kitty corner to the Dow Event Center at the Temple Theater, we want to make sure that we're good neighbors, and I want to make sure that we are collaborating and ensuring that we're bringing a diverse array of programming to the Saginaw audience and the Great Lakes Bay region audience. So you're not necessarily double dipping, if you will. You're getting everything.
Take a break and be back as we chat with Tony Serra, who is the executive director of the Temple Arts Organization. Let me talk about Quick Lane in Freeland, right next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford. It's been a tough year for people with allergies, particularly the spring and summer. And Quick Lane knows that, and they have an answer to keep you healthy while you're driving. It's a product called FrigiFresh, injected into your car's air conditioning system. Here's John to tell you about it.
FrigiFresh. Hi.
Hi, we're back with you in studio with me, Tony Serra, the new executive director of the Temple Arts Organization. And, a number of years ago when the two were blended together, the Art Museum and the Temple Theater, and people were scratching their heads going, will that really work? It did, didn't it?
Absolutely. It's working beautifully. There are very few organizations in the country that have that model. But interestingly enough, to speak to your prior point, this region has that embarrassment of riches in the arts, right? And we have just up in Midland an arts center that has theaters and a museum all in one building, right? So it's proven that this region has an appetite for an organization that cultivates performing arts and visual arts all under one roof. And, it creates efficiencies and synergies and opportunities for us to bring some performing arts to the museum in the sort of the way that our Museum Tunes program comes together out in the gardens in the summertime, and then also bring some visual art to the theater.
Since there are other examples,
yes,
you now have the Art Museum and the Temple Theater under one umbrella. Is there room for expansion? Other organizations that could come into the fold, so to speak?
I think the conversations around expanding Temple Arts are interesting, are worth listening to, and could ultimately benefit our regional audience. And that's the most important part. There obviously needs to be a business efficiency and a business case for those organizations to partner together, right?
And that's why I asked, because, you could probably guess the organization on the top of my mind for that would be the Symphony.
It certainly is an organization that's very near and dear to us. And between the Symphony and the Saginaw Choral Society being our two in-house performing arts organizations, literally with their offices inside of the Temple Theater, there is definitely an opportunity for that conversation to happen. But at the same time, those organizations are long-standing, and I think that there's a lot that goes into it. Well, so was the Temple Theater
and the Art Museum, though. They were long-standing, so.
That's a good point. That's a good point, for sure. I would say that there needs to be that necessity, right? And right now, the Saginaw Bay Symphony Orchestra and the Saginaw Choral Society are embarking on their 90th seasons. And each of those seasons are really what I like to call the greatest hits of their individual genres. So, they're good organizations. They're thriving organizations. Of course, we would be happy to have them as a part of the Temple Arts organization, but ultimately they still continue to serve our community as independent organizations as well.
So if we put them aside for a moment and we get out the Sarah crystal ball, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, what's the Temple Arts organization going to look like?
Great question, Art. It is very challenging to predict what the future has in store. But I ultimately want to continue to build upon our recent successes inside of the theater specifically, with those large headlining acts coming through, and giving some of the bigger markets in our state a run for their money. There's no reason why in 5 years you should need to drive down to Pine Knob or to Little Caesars Arena or to the Fox Theater. And I know that those are organizations that are very near and dear to me in my past, right? But the idea is to bring that experience north and to make it so that you can do that stuff here at home.
And I would assume, one of the words I hate to say, but I would assume selling out big shows is an attraction for other big shows.
Oh, absolutely. Every time you bring an artist to town, right, there's a little bit of a song and dance that happens between the venue and the artist and the artist's management. And I can tell you, every artist that's come through the Temple Theater in recent years has had nothing but phenomenal things to say. And it's not just the headlining act themselves, it's their support team. So we're giving them a good show when they arrive and they get off the bus and they head backstage to the green room and the dressing rooms. But more importantly, when they step out on stage, Saginaw audiences, they just envelop you with love, and they support you from the crowd in a way that you want to come back and do another show. And obviously, those good experiences from an artist standpoint are going to climb the ladder of the management chain, and let's send this artist there. Let's send this artist there.
I know that Ted Nugent, when he was here a couple of years ago, before this reason, when he left, he said he loved it and he'd be back. And 2 years later,
That's
There he
exactly
was.
right. And then he said the same thing. I mean, he immediately, the morning after his show last Wednesday, got on Facebook Live and began to sing the praises of the Temple Theater staff. I mean, Sarah and Thor were two names that I don't